And now on to this Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight. I don't know anything about boxing. I'll say I don't watch boxing. I watch like the big headliner fights, but obviously you're very in tune with boxing. You know a lot about combat sports. So I just want to ask you, don't give me a prediction because I think I know where you're kind of at right there. But how do you think this fight is going to go? How do you think it's going to pan out?
This is going to be an event because the reason why this isn't a professional boxing match, this is an exhibition. So regardless of what happens, it's not going on anyone's record professionally speaking. Both of these guys technically are professional boxers. So whatever the outcome is, it's not going down. But I will say, though, Showtime, Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, they have marketed the heck out of this fight. So they're going to do numbers on the pay-per-view. I don't know exactly what. I don't know if they'll break 1 million. Some are saying they might even break 2 million. I don't know. That might be stretching it. But I do think they will put on a show. From top to bottom, it's a pretty solid card. Chad Ochocinco, the former Cincinnati Bengals wideout, he's on the card. He's fighting a former mixed martial artist, so who knows how that'll go. Personally, I'll give my take on that. I think he's going to lose, but that's just me. But look, this is going to be an event. What more could you expect from Floyd Mayweather? Usually he fights in Las Vegas. That's pretty much his home, but Miami and Florida, they didn't sanction the fight, but they're holding the fight. So it's going to be a spectacle. They're going to sell out as many tickets as they can because all the tickets have been sold out thus far. It's a great venue, Hard Rock Stadium. I think it's going to be a great event overall.
I just wanted to ask, do you think Jake Paul has an actual
Logan?
Do you think Logan? His name's not Jake.
It's Logan. That's his brother.
Oh, okay.
They look alike.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused. Do you think Logan Paul has a chance to actually be like a serious professional boxer, like get respect in the boxing world, or do you think this is all just a facade?
No. So essentially, I think you're asking, does he have a chance to challenge for a world title? Absolutely not. He doesn't. And even Jake, too. I don't think he does as well. But you know what, though? You have to give your hat off to those guys. You have to tip your hat to them because they stepped in this game back in 2018 when they were at the top, the pinnacle of YouTube. They jumped into boxing, albeit it was an exhibition and then eventually a professional fight for Logan against KSI. But, is Logan going to be a champion? No. But could he have fights like this against Floyd that are lucrative? Absolutely. And you know what? More power to him. I'm happy he's making money. I'm happy Floyd's making money. But in terms of being a serious boxer, Logan is not on that level. And I don't think ever will be.
So giving a breakdown on how you think this fight is going to go, how many rounds you think it's going to be, the question now that everybody's asking is, one, does Logan have a chance? And two, will he even land a punch?
Okay. He has a puncher's chance. I think that has to be said. In every fight, there is a puncher's chance. Now, it's a very low puncher's chance. And I would say if Logan's going in there thinking he's just going to box Floyd Mayweather, he's going to get destroyed within 3 rounds. If he has a chance to make it, I don't want to say dirty, but that's probably where he'll have to take it. He'll have to be gritty. He'll have to make it rough, especially in the clinch and on the inside. Maybe he could go all 8 rounds. Personally, I think the only way Logan wins is if he kind of employs some tactics that Marcos Maidana used against Floyd Mayweather. And if you don't know Marcos Maidana, in 2014, he fought Floyd Mayweather twice in May and September, lost both fights, but the fight in May, their first fight in 2014, some thought Marcos Maidana beat Floyd Mayweather, but the decision went to Floyd Mayweather. In that fight, Marcos Maidana, he was throwing in some shoulders. He was pretty rough with how he dealt with Mayweather, had Mayweather pressed up against the ropes, which was something before then that boxing had never seen against Floyd Mayweather. If Logan, because of the sheer size and length, I think there is a chance that he could try to outmuscle Floyd Mayweather. But again, it all comes down to experience. And it's why this fight in the first place is not even sanctioned. It's why it's just an exhibition, because you have a guy that's 0-1 going up against the greatest boxer of all time.
I thought Logan Paul won.
No, he lost.
He
That's
lost
Jake
to
Paul.
KSI.
Bro. Jake Paul beat Nate and Ben Askren.
Yeah, they're confusing me. That's why these two.
It's
guys.
all right. I get it. I mean, they're on similar paths. But I would just say that my prediction is that Floyd, it's going to get a little bit interesting at first, especially how it was against Conor McGregor. Conor landed a nice uppercut in their fight in the first round, and everyone was like, ooh. So Logan may have a chance to land a nice shot and catch everyone's attention, but I think Floyd will finish him in the 6th round. That's the way I see it. But you know what? I think a lot of people will pay a lot of respect to Logan after the fact that he stood in there 6 rounds, albeit an exhibition. He was in there 6 rounds with the greatest of all time.
If Logan hypothetically wins, what would that do for his career, and what would that do to Floyd's legacy if he wins? Regardless of his, I know it doesn't count, it's exhibition, but still losing like that, and it's like you said, it's gonna be on Showtime. 2 million people might watch it, probably 2. It's gonna get a lot of views. What do you think it's gonna do to Floyd as a boxer, as a man, and then what do you think it's gonna do to Logan Paul in his career?
Floyd actually talked about this today. They had a media session, and Floyd said, look, if I lose for whatever reason to Logan Paul, it doesn't matter because it's not on my record. Floyd only cares about his legacy. So if some off chance happens that Logan ends up pulling this one off and the ultimate heist of all time, to Floyd, it doesn't matter. The guy said it was a legal bank robbery. So Floyd's cool. Even if somehow he loses this, it's not going on his professional record. But to the public,
yeah.
Oh my goodness, it is going to be a humiliation. And Logan Paul, his ego is already big, as it should be. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire YouTuber. You don't get that way if you have a small ego. If he beats Floyd, oh my God, do not be surprised if you see him trying to challenge either someone like Conor McGregor or, crazy enough, a world champion boxer. So if that happens, Logan might try to test the waters.
You beat the GOAT. I mean,
yeah.
When we talked about, when we were at the radio station, we talked about the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight. We also talked a bit about Jake Paul, and you actually think Jake Paul is a much more advanced boxer than Logan Paul, and you gave your respect to Jake Paul as, like, this guy can legitimately fight. He knows what he's doing.
Jake is on a much different route than Logan, because Logan, although, yes, he enjoys boxing and wants a career out of it, I think he's doing this more so as a passion project. Whereas Jake believes that he can make a serious career out of this. So that's the difference. And also, Jake is active. Say what you want about the guy. I don't think Jake is ever going to be a world champion, but he knows how to fight. I think that's for certain. Look, Ben Askren, not a boxer whatsoever, never known to be a striker in mixed martial arts, but the guy has a granite chin, and Jake knocked him out in the 1st round. That has to count for something. And then now he's going in there against Tyron Woodley. What I have to say about Jake is that he is a smart businessman. He knows what he's doing. There's a reason why he's pulling in a 39-year-old Tyron Woodley who's on a 4-fight losing streak and no longer in the UFC. There's a method to the guy's madness. So Jake knows what he's doing. I mean, he's making a ton of money off of it, and credit to Jake Paul for that.
Yeah, I heard Stu Presidente talk about it on one of his podcasts, that he was saying that Jake Paul, why would he fight anybody that he knows he has a gigantic chance of losing to? Because every single fight that he has is going to have a ton of anticipation and is going to bring in a ton of viewers, because at this point, everybody just wants to see him lose.
He's a villain. You're 100% right. In a way, he's taken a lot of tactics from Floyd Mayweather. I know it's fun for Jake to discredit Floyd because his brother's fighting and the whole gotcha hat thing. But back in the day, before Floyd Mayweather in 2007 fought Oscar De La Hoya, he was well liked. He was Pretty Boy Floyd. He was one of the pound for pound best guys, but he wasn't as big because he didn't really have that persona to back it up. But once he fought Oscar De La Hoya, he became Money Mayweather and the villain, the heel of boxing. That's exactly what Jake Paul is doing here, getting everyone to hate him, getting everyone to dislike him. He even went to a UFC event and had the whole arena chanting, "You know what, Jake Paul." So the guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to get under people's skin. And that's why the guy is a millionaire in the first place in YouTube. And he's going to keep raking in the millions if he keeps winning.
Yeah, so I think you pretty much nailed everything. Obviously, you know a ton about boxing. I know JC here probably knew about some of the boxers you were talking about. I do have absolutely nobody outside of Floyd.
I know Oscar.
Yeah, I know Oscar too. But I appreciate you for your time. And if you want, you can just plug in whatever you're doing with your websites, your boxing, anything you have going on. You can plug it in here so the audience can listen.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate that. Right now, I'm working with TWSN, the Right Way Sports Network. I'm a boxing and mixed martial artist, writer, or journalist. I also host a weekly podcast every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on the Right Way Sports Network's YouTube page. So you can just type in TWSN on YouTube and you'll be able to check out my podcast. So a lot of stuff covering boxing, but I also pay close attention to all sports, really. Every major sport I'm a big follower of. And I just want to thank you guys because I'm a big fan of your show because Joel, you and I know each other quite well. And I'm a big fan of everything you guys are doing. So keep it up. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity to be on the show.
Yeah, we definitely got to have you back on, especially after the Bucks and Nets series ends. We got to have your take, whether the Nets win or whether the Bucks win. We got to have you back on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to be back on. I think the Nets are going to win, being objective, but as a Bucks fan, I can't count out the Bucks whatsoever.
Yeah, so we appreciate having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.